If you don't have hobbies or interests outside of your job, you are likely going to feel the rejection more acutely because you don't have as many buffers in your life. So what you want to do there is really get a life outside of your work and make sure that you are enjoying that life.
Big fucking dreams. All right then, you got this.
Hey, big fucking dreamers. So pumped to be here with you today. Actually, if I'm honest, I'm not really pumped. There are just some days, and I know that everyone listening has had them, where you just don't fucking feel like it. You just don't feel like showing up. You just don't feel like doing the thing. And today, I said to Chris right before, and today has like always been a podcast day for me. So what that looks like is planned out all my episodes in the morning, went to the gym, got ready for the podcast, and I'm in for a couple hours of recording. And I have just wanted to check out and not show up and just go and watch or read the Heated Rivalry book series, the Game Changer series, which if anyone knows, I'm like now obsessed with this and I've already read the whole series once. So I've actually just stopped myself from reading it again. But I'm here and I'm showing up anyway because I know that actually just checking out doesn't do a lot for me. And sometimes I think that it will make me feel better. And there is actually some stuff coming up because on one hand, I'm like, I'm a coach. I'm supposed to be, I don't even know, this beacon of enlightenment or whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, I'm a human too. I have good days and bad days. And today I'm going to talk all about rejection because this is something that I saw has come up in a lot of my clients, but also I get rejected all the time. Like literally every fucking day I get rejected because I put myself out there so much. And that is something that I also want to talk about as well, is that the more you put yourself out there, the more risks that you take, the more you're going to be inviting rejection into your life. So the more resilience that you really need to cultivate. So that's what we're going to cover. And I wanted to do this episode today also because I felt like I needed it. Sometimes what I record is based on what I think my clients really need, but other times it's based on what I really need. And this is a more, kind of a more pertinent topic for me. This also isn't going into the Telegraph. So this is just with the big fucking dreamers. So I feel a little bit, like comfy cozy in this community because I love you guys. And also so many of you have been reaching out lately and I really appreciate that. I've had so many DMs on both Instagram and LinkedIn from people in the past few weeks just saying they're part of the big fucking dreamer community. So I'm going to ask a favor. If you love this podcast is obviously free for you. It's definitely not free for me. I spend so much time, effort, money. This is a huge expense in my business, which I love doing because I love spreading these messages. And this was always part of my mission to have a podcast like this. But if you are listening and you like it, please, if you could share it on your stories, also just rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube. I'm going to start inviting comment sections in at different points of the episode. I'd love to hear from you on really specific things on what's resonating and what's not. Also because it helps guide the type of episodes that I record. So leave a comment. Also, don't be a hoe. Share the show. I didn't make that up. I wish I did because it's so great. Okay, today we're going to get into rejection. So first of all, I just want to talk about that if you are getting a lot of rejection, that means hell yes, because you are putting yourself out there. So let's just say that like that in itself is an accomplishment because you're not sitting there at home, holed up in your shell. You're actually out there, you're doing things. So if you need to hear this, if you need a pat on the back, whether this is rejection for applying for jobs, whether this is rejection in dating, whether this is rejection in going for a promotion, or let's say you work in sales and it's sort of sales rejection, or in some sort of internal customer facing role, if it's stakeholder rejection, whatever it is, if you are receiving a rejection, almost flipping it and looking at, I'm actually putting myself out there. I'm actually one of those people who are brave enough to do this type of thing and I'm not okay with the status quo and I'm out here trying things. So just cultivating that mindset first of I'm the type of person who tries things. I'm the type of person who puts myself out there. Therefore, I'm a bit more susceptible to rejection, but that is because of my effort. So the more effort you put, the more rejection you are going to face. But if we look at the neuroscience behind rejection, so rejection is equivalent to almost like a social shunning. So there is certain parts of your brain start lighting up, because when you receive a rejection, it almost feels like you're going to be cast out from the tribe. You're not going to be getting as many resources. So therefore, any type of rejection can be quite frightening. And just kind of knowing that and being able to calm yourself down during those times and saying, okay, it's okay. My brain is telling me that this is really dangerous, but it's actually not. I'm actually going to be okay. I'm actually going to get through this. And it's so funny because Chris, my beloved husband, he's just, it's an Australian thing, maybe. I don't know. Chris just like doesn't coddle me. And when I'm like, oh my God, and he's just like, it's all right, you'll just pick yourself up. I'm like, thanks, babe. So I'm like, I can't, but in a sense, it's kind of good because I can't really rely on him like wrapping me up in cotton wool when I have a feeling, which is, very often. So I'm the one that has to really pick myself up and say, you know what, it's okay. Like, I'm putting myself out there. And when clients too come to me and they're experiencing a lot of rejection, I look at it and I'm like, great, it's a great thing because you are out there, you are doing it. So another thing to really look at is that, rejection, like there are a few different mindset tools that we can really work with to make rejection a little bit easier. And the first one is focusing on the process, not the outcome. Now, I'm going to caveat this and say you still need to be collecting data and understanding what's working and what's not. You don't just want to be blindly continuing to do things and have them not work for an extended period of time and not change anything about your process. So I always like to kind of look for hacks whenever I can. And I think this is a dopamine center in your brain where you want to make like a reward system, and a really easy one to do. So a simple thing here is, let's say I did this. I think I've spoken about this on the podcast before, but I just took 2 jars. This was outreach for me. And each time I made an outreach, like either a sales call or a networking meeting or a prospect for a B2B, customer presentation, whatever that is, I transferred one paperclip from one jar to another. And I waited until the jar was totally full. And then I gave myself a reward at the end, which was a massage. And so what I'm doing is I'm kind of gaming the system. And then it becomes really fun because I'm like, ooh, I want to get more paper clips into the jar. I'm also a person that loved stickers, and I still do love stickers. So this could work as well. And this is like any type of activity that you want more positive reinforcement. Can you have some sort of visual identity, whether that's putting stickers on a page, whether that's moving paper clips from one to another? One of my clients, she used a pom-pom jar. She had that with her kids. So each time she would apply for a job, she would move one pom-pom to another. And what this is doing is it's reinforcing the behavior, but you're also then getting a reward. So you're getting a reward right away, which can be really encouraging. And then at the end, you want to look at, okay, hey, how can I reward myself even further? And that could be what sort of nice activity, whether that is a massage, whether that's a day off at the beach, whether that is, I don't even know, going out to a really nice restaurant with a friend or with your partner or with your dog, whatever you want. So just think about something that's enjoyable that you can almost save up for this so that you could really give yourself as a reinforcement for this is the type of behavior I want to encourage. And what we're trying to do here is really focus on the process of putting yourself out there rather than the outcome of rejection. So you really want to invite more of the action taking rather than, okay, this person rejected me. It almost doesn't really matter because then you're like, well, it doesn't really matter. I got my, whatever it is, 10 job applications in, or I made my 10 sales calls, or I did, 10 outreaches for networking, whatever. I went on 10 dates. So that's the first one. Then the second one is really looking at the second mindset tool is just taking a pause and looking at what's going on. And if you've done any of my programs, this is where internal family systems therapy really comes in handy, because each time if you feel rejection coming in and you realize that something in you is extremely triggered, what you want to do is you want to find the part of you that's triggered and you want to soothe it. I did it this morning. I got a rejection from something that I really wanted. And I felt where I go is I almost go into overwhelm. And there's a part of me that just goes right into overwhelm and it just wants to shut everything down. I call this the overwhelm part. And I have a secondary part, which is called the sloth monster. And the sloth monster just wants to totally wipe me out. He wants me on the couch, watching Bridgerton, doing nothing all day, eating from the peanut butter jar, whatever. And so I was able to just do a mini meditation this morning. I journaled, I did a meditation, I connected to the parts, and I just said, okay, what is it that you need? And they were like, we don't want to work, we're really tired. We just want to wipe you out. And I was like, okay, I understood that. I didn't actually give them what they needed and what they wanted, but I said, we're not going to do that today. We're actually still going to show up. So pausing and understanding what part of you feels this trigger, what part of you feels this rejection. It's usually quite a young part of you. If you can then work with that part and have a conversation with it so it doesn't take over, and you can say, I'm going to come back to you later, but today I'm actually still going to show up and do my job and do what I need to do because I do have responsibilities and I'm a 35-year-old woman, whatever it is that you need to say. So pausing, connecting. If you haven't been in my programs or you don't know internal family systems therapy and how to do this, I actually have a few podcast episodes about an introduction to internal family systems therapy. And then there's a parts meditation that's there as well. I would access that, go back to that, listen to those. And those are going to help you connect with the part and understand how to work with a part when it is really triggered. So the third thing is when you're getting rejected, and it can be really hard, going back and focusing on your why. And for me, my why is, I really want to work with people and have ambition be something that can be healthy and supportive rather than destructive. That is such a part of my why, which is I love working with highly ambitious professionals, but I don't think that ambition should come at the cost of your well-being. And that is what I stand for. That's what I preach. And going back to my why is that I can really help people. I can really be of service. I can really make a difference in the world. But if I'm only focused on outcome, and if I'm only focused on, for me and my business, which would be revenue, I just don't want a business like that. I don't want a business where I'm making sales, but I'm not fully aligned with my work. I know a lot of other coaches who do that. And that to me, I didn't leave corporate to be out of integrity in that way. I mean, that's not fundamentally what my business is for. So I've really had to connect really back with my why. And if you are making any sort of transition or you're putting yourself out there, let's say you're dating or job transition, whatever it is, thinking about what is the why behind it. It could be, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing it so I can spend more time with them. Or I'm doing this so I can have more fulfillment in my work, so I can love what I do every single day. But if you don't connect to your why and you're getting rejected, then you're just going to sit in a lot of the thoughts of, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And we don't want to be in that place. So what you really want to do is really get concrete, first of all, about why you're putting yourself out there. What's the change it's going to make in your life? What's the change it's going to make in the world? And then when these tough feelings come through, then you're more able to cope with them because you're like, wow, okay, I really am connected. And even doing this, I'm like, yeah, that is my why. That's why I'm doing this. So get on the fucking mic. This is why you want to do it. So anyway, I'm really glad this podcast has helped me. Hope it's helped you. Then the last thing that we're looking at is, really looking at growth mindset. So I've spoken about this before, growth mindset. This is Carol Dweck's work that I absolutely love. And it's looking at any type of skill or capability is something that you can further develop, and your ability is not fixed. And if you think that it's fixed, you really have a fixed mindset where you're like, okay, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, this is never going to work, I don't have the skills, versus I don't know how to do this yet. It's something that I can improve on, and it's something I can get better at. I had a client tell me, we're in the mastermind program. Shout out to everyone in the mastermind, which is, graduates and alumni of the Life and Work Transformation are able to join it. It's such an amazing group of people. We had an incredible call on Friday, but one of my clients who's just launched a business, you know who you are if you're listening to this, she was saying that she's not really connected to the C-level executives that she needs to be for her business. So why should she bother posting on LinkedIn? And that is an example of, okay, this is a really great example of where to have a growth mindset of, I'm not connected to these people yet. I don't yet have the skills or the knowledge to be able to develop a content strategy to attract these types of people. However, if I do it long enough, if I take and this is someone that is highly, highly competent, and it's just thinking that if she goes and acquires the skills, she is going to be able to do this. This is something that she's going to be able to succeed at. So really looking at, well, I'm not getting the result I want yet, but there is so much data that I can get, and there's so much learning that I can take. And do I need to take a specific course, or do I need to be working with a specific mentor? Who here can teach me how to do this? And then probably the last part of this whole thing is really looking at your identity. And is your self-worth really rooted in performance? And this often happens when you don't have a lot of things outside of your life and your life is solely concentrated on one area. So a lot of the people that I work with when they first come in, their life is solely concentrated on their career, and they usually want to diversify where they're putting all of their self-worth, all of their self-esteem. So if you don't have hobbies or interests outside of your job, you are likely going to feel the rejection more acutely because you don't have as many buffers in your life. So what you want to do there is really get a life outside of your work and make sure that you are enjoying that life. Make sure that you have hobbies. I mean, I know this is hard at different stages of life and different seasons, such as, if you have young children, this is probably, a very difficult thing. But even a lot of my clients that have young children, we still are able to find strategies where they're able to, take singing classes, or where they're able to go dancing or take a yoga class, whatever it is. How can you work this out with those around you, whether that's asking for help from family, asking for help for your partner, whatever that is, so that you can enjoy yourself a bit more. And I know for me, as everyone on the podcast knows, my husband and I are swingers, swing dancers. And going to our swing dancing class each week is one of the highlights of my week. Now, I will caveat, I never really want to go. I'm always like, I'd rather sit on the couch, and which is just so interesting. And I feel like this is a side tangent, but I feel like it's just such a recent phenomenon that people don't want to go out as much as they used to. Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it's a fatigue thing from being on the computer all the time. But I've found that more and more I don't want to go do things. And I really do not make myself, but I do things because I want an interesting and engaging life. But anyway, we go to swing dancing class each week. We love it. Every time we go, it's so much fun. It's music. We have a whole community there. We have friends there now, which is completely outside of anything that I do in my career. Having that as a steadying thing in my life really helps. So if you don't have any sort of hobbies and interests outside of your job, then the rejection is going to sting even more. So therefore, you need to figure out how to start enjoying life and making a more robust life where you do have more enjoyment. And this is, if you are feeling like your identity is tied to self-worth, if you are feeling like you're going through a stage where you are feeling the rejection more acutely, you are feeling like you are struggling, you can't do it alone, this is exactly what the life and work transformation is for. I mean, it is for professionals that are highly ambitious, but if you want to gain more resilience in your life so that your ambition really supports your life rather than destroys it, then I want to work with you. I want to work with ambitious professionals who want to do exactly that, who want to build a life that's more healthy, more fulfilling. So the next round is April 17th. We already have some amazing people signed up. So I'm really, really excited for this round, which is great. The link is in the show notes. And comment, like this, share the show, subscribe, send me a DM if you like it. And I will see you next week. Big fucking dreamers. Go get those big fucking dreams.
Big fucking dream.